a topography of potential where we have valleys and hills and mountains. The difference between my interest in playing basketball and my ability to play basketball is a good illustration of the topography of potential. Reiki is a Japanese healing art that uses life force energy to infuse the client with a high level of what I call light, life, and love. The Creator put within me a topography of potential that did not include or included as a valley playing basketball, but included as a mountain holding space for healing for my fellow humans. You have a topography of potential. Mountains and valleys and hills that were put into you by your Creator, that are unique to you, that are a combination that no one on the planet has ever had or will ever have. So your experiences through life, you discard the experiences that are not part of your topography of potential, and you embrace and develop those experiences that lead you toward the gifts that you were given by your Creator. Hello, this is Tom Capshew, and you're listening to my Consciousness Rising YouTube channel. This is episode 21, and today we're going to talk about masterpieces and pieces of work. So in episode 20, we talked about the topography of potential that I believe is put there by our common Creator, put into each one of us, valleys, hills, and mountains inside of us, that the valleys are qualities that we don't possess, that we would have to work hard to achieve. Hills are easier to achieve, and mountains are the things that we have been given as gifts and skills that come naturally to us and help us to discover and sing our heart's song. Today I'm going to talk about how we go astray from listening to our heart's song and attending to the topography of our potential. And I'm going to borrow a concept from a book that we're currently reading in my Consciousness Rising book club. And the book is called Eros, A Return to Unconditional Love by Don Miguel Ruiz and Barbara Emrys. And in this book, the authors talk about the distinction between original programming and social programming. So to summarize it, original programming is what we came in to the physical world with from our Creator. That's in that place of unconditional love. And then over time, as we grow older, we take on social programming that has a lot of different rules and a lot of different things that sometimes keep us safe, but sometimes are just almost nonsensical. And we'll talk a little bit about those. So original programming, when we are born, we do not have the brain capacity. Our brain is not fully developed. Our heart is fully developed, but our brain, the midbrain is developed, which helps us to make sure that we get the nutrients we need and stay out of danger. The cerebral cortex is not developed fully until we're actually 26 years old. And so what happens when we're born is we're born out of unconditional love, and we are born into a consciousness that makes no separation, no duality, no differentiation between me and someone else. That's developed over time as our brain develops. And so that original programming, we are one with everything. And that's the idea of being born into unconditional love that then over time gets reprogrammed, or a program gets written over that original programming. And so for this episode, I like to call this episode a series of events over the course of our life. We start off as a masterpiece. Our social programming kicks in, and we become a piece of work. And then, if we are a growth-oriented person, then we become a work in progress. And then through the hard work of discarding some of that social programming, most of it, then we return at our older age as a masterpiece. So we begin as a masterpiece, we become a piece of work, which has lots of challenges. We become a work in progress when we start to clear those social programming messages, and we, if we're successful, we end our life as a masterpiece. So let's talk a little bit about the movement from masterpiece to social programming, or to a piece of work. So sometime between 2 and 3 years old, we begin to develop this idea that we're separate from other people, and we are not nearly as powerful as we'd like to be. And in the West, we have a name for that, and that's called the terrible twos, where if we don't get exactly what we want, exactly when we want it, then we'll throw a fit and demand that we get what we want at that moment. So that's when social programming starts to build up in our consciousness, and we begin to develop an ego. And what happens then is we forget our original programming, or it's written over the top of the social programming. Now, to be really clear, some of our social programming is very useful. So one of the social programming bits that I received was, don't run out of the yard into the street. That's very helpful for not getting run over by a car. And that helped keep me alive, because I like to run, and I probably would have run into the street not looking for a car, because at that point I didn't really know what a car was or how much damage it could do. And so it was very helpful for my survival to get that social programming. But over time we get an incredible amount of either confusing or unhelpful social programming. I was socially programmed to be a male gender. some of the things that I was programmed to do were not consistent with my original programming. For example, I consider myself to be incredibly sensitive. Most men are socially programmed into the male gender to be insensitive or not sensitive. I also happen to have learned that I am good at communicating, particularly about thoughts and feelings. Many men are socially programmed to not communicate. And so that social programming of being socialized into a male gender role did not fit my original programming or some of the hills or mountains of my internal topography. So I did my best to adopt the social programming, and then over time I began to recognize that what I was told were the rules of being a member of the male gender were not rules that resonated with my essence. And so over time, I've learned to embrace my essence and discard the male gender programming that I was brought up with. So there's all kinds of social programming that is intended to be helpful, but is often contrary to the essence of who you are. So for example, women aren't programmed to be assertive. Women aren't programmed to be driven to make themselves better. They're programmed oftentimes to put other people's needs ahead of their own. Sometimes that's adaptive. Sometimes that's very maladaptive. And so after our original programming as a masterpiece, we move into a phase where we are a piece of work, where we've got confused messages that are inconsistent with who we really are, and we're trying to navigate life with two conflicting programs running at the same time. For people who are growth-oriented, they look to improving themselves. And so part of improving ourselves is to unlearn or to discard those events or lessons or beliefs that we've picked up that no longer work for us. And that's where therapy and personal growth and experimenting with different types of meditation, where all of that comes in, where we begin to move into the phase of being a work in progress. Instead of being a piece of work, which is often a negative term, we become a work in progress, where we recognize that we certainly aren't perfect and never will be as a human, but we are working on making the most of our lives and getting to a place where we can be happy and healthy and loving and joyful. So that's often a phase in a person's life that leads toward the final phase, which is returning to being a masterpiece. A masterpiece is not perfect. A masterpiece is a full and accurate representation of how we were created to be, of what our original programming was. And once you move into that place, we've got episodes on discovering, learning, and singing your heart's song. That's when you get to be a masterpiece. That's when you get to do what you were created to do, and what you're doing is you're enjoying your life rather than anything that you're doing activity-wise becomes play instead of work. So, masterpiece, piece of work, work in progress. Masterpiece is the course of a life well lived, where we're working toward returning to the original blueprint that our Creator put within us. So I'd like to talk briefly about the idea of the best version of yourself, because I've heard that a lot these days, that the goal is to become the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself is comparing where you are now to what your potential is. A lot of people say the best version of themselves is to eliminate any negatives. That's not the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself is to maximize the expression of the potential that was put within you by your Creator. And so the best version of yourself does not compare yourself to anybody else, because you're comparing where you are now in your life with what is possible for you. What is the potential? Is it possible to be happier? Is it possible to be healthier? Is it possible to set goals and achieve those goals and feel confident and competent in your life? That is the best version of yourself. And often we don't get a picture of the best version of ourselves from a snapshot, because a snapshot is a moment in time of your life, and that snapshot neither tells you whether you're going into higher functioning or going down into lower functioning. Life is like a spiral where it gets tighter and tighter as you go down, and your functioning becomes less and less, or you're going up the spiral and it's getting wider and wider and more open and more beautiful. So a snapshot in time doesn't tell you which direction you're moving, and we're always moving in a direction. We're either getting better, getting higher functioning, being a better version of ourselves, or we're sliding back down entropy, back down into lower level functioning. So the way I view life is, when we're born, it's almost like we're shot out of a cannon with life force energy. It's busting out of us. It's 360-degree ball of light. Over time, as we get into our 20s and 30s, the trajectory of life force energy begins to ebb a little bit, and it starts to balance out with the other process of life. One process of life is creation, new growth. The other process of life is destruction, constriction, and death. That's called entropy in physics, and our life is always a balance of life force energy and entropy, creation and destruction. And so as we start life, we have an overabundance of creation energy, and as we near the end of our life, we become more developed or more focused on entropy, on that breakdown of life, which is entirely natural. And so growth, personal growth, is making a conscious choice to move up the spiral and to focus on the life force energy within you and to make good use of that energy. So for you today, I wish for you to take a moment of your day and think about where you are in your life stage. You're probably not at masterpiece, original, because you wouldn't be watching this video. You might be somewhere in the piece of work stage, or you might be starting to be in the work in progress stage, or you could be at the return of the masterpiece stage. So take a few moments and contemplate where you are and whether you are moving up the spiral with life force energy to grow yourself, or whether you're moving down the spiral. And if you feel like you're just coasting, then you're most likely drifting down the spiral a little bit. Thank you, and have a good day.